Alright, it's only been like an hour and a half, time at the bottom, 10:30 or something. I was worried the mayo wouldn't last that long, so I want to eat the sardines now. And I guess I will start off with some results. I know it's windy, there's nothing I can do about that. I can wait till that truck leaves, but nothing I can do about the wind. Alright, it's like the windiest day of all time, but I'm going to try to film in between gusts of like 50-mile-an-hour wind. Didn't come close to 300 hours, failed that goal. 231 hours and 19 minutes. I will tell you why, maybe later this video, maybe next video. Part of it was me, of course. A lot of that is in my control. Didn't love how the World Series of Poker circuit affected things, but I'll get into that later. The money... I said it was abysmal. It was negative. I lost on this trip. Lost $237. Some of that in my control, a lot of that outside my control also. I'll get to that, I guess, now. And it wasn't bad. The first 3 days were kind of like what I expected. And after that, it was just like horrendous. I will say it is easy during a bad stretch to just say, oh, I ran bad. And part of that is definitely true. It's not the entire case though. Everyone loves saying that, mostly the people who try to play for a living and then fail, but it was a part of it. It wasn't all of it. I didn't kind of switch into like Council Bluffs mode quickly enough. It should have been instantly. I played a lot in Vegas, I played a lot in Council Bluffs. I know the difference, and I was doing some things that I would have no problem doing them in Vegas. I shouldn't be doing them in Council Bluffs. The biggest thing was a lot of hands pre-flop. I was just raising way too small. You could get away with such a large sizing out here, and about, I don't know, 10 days into my time in Council Bluffs, I started raising a lot bigger. See, in Vegas, you want to get called. You want to get called by worse hands. It's tough when you go too big to get called by worse hands. Like, Jack 10 isn't calling like $20, $25 in Vegas. It just doesn't happen that often. Oh, out here, way worse than Jack 10 will call $20, $25. So I was raising early on way too often to like 10, 12, 15, and then realized I was going like 4 ways to every single flop, which sometimes I'm willing to, sometimes I want to. Most of the time, trying to get heads up going to the flop. And then I started raising a lot more to $20, $25, and that started working out a lot better for me. Also, 2 hands that were not very, very specific. Like, not very common. They were specific. 2 hands I wish I had back. Again, didn't have a problem if I played the hand that way in Vegas. But out here in Council Bluffs, you could do much different things. And they were unique, so they don't come up a lot, but I do wish I had them back and played them differently. Don't know what the results would have been, because I can't foresee how my opponents would have reacted to what I did, but definitely should have played them better in the long run, and I didn't. And hours, should have just had more hours. I was actually ahead of pace when the 4 days of that multiplier, the tier credit multiplier promo ended. I was ahead of pace to hit 300, and then it really fell off. For one, it was just having tons of losing sessions. I didn't feel like playing all day and all night, so my hours dropped because of that. But I didn't like how the World Series of Poker circuit affected things. It started on a Wednesday, I think, and for the first 2 days, not a ton of people were in town yet. My guess is they were finishing the work week and then coming in on Friday or Saturday. So for the first 2 days, we had like no extra people, and the people who would normally be playing cash games were just going to the tournaments, and we had fewer tables going than normal. There was a Friday that was really, really busy, and the other Fridays and Saturdays during the circuit stop, I think we had about 1 more table than normal, but it wasn't like it used to be. I remember in the past, like the Run Good series would be held in the poker room, and I don't know how they do it with only 18 tables and running tournaments and cash games, but they did it, and it was amazing. The energy was great, the mood was great, there was a lot of noise, and it was so easy when people lost the tournament to play cash games. With the tournaments in another room in another part of the casino, you really need to make an effort to go from there to the cash game room all in the back corner of the casino. And a lot of the people I didn't recognize, I guess the people coming just for the tournaments who would play cash games, I didn't like how it was affecting the mood. I don't know if other people cared in the least or maybe enjoyed it. A ton of them had backpacks and headphones and sunglasses, and that's fine. You're allowed to have those things. Herbs and Rye and Bill Tate have a backpack, but they don't look miserable, and they're always talking, and they make the mood of the table better. Everyone I didn't recognize who went to play cash games, who I imagine were in town for the tournament, always looked like they were in a constant rage. And when like a third of the table was people who you never saw before, who never spoke, who always looked incredibly mad, who always had backpacks, it just like made me not want to play like a 12-hour day. It made me want to hit like 5-6 hours and like leave as quickly as possible. I didn't enjoy it, so I was losing, that was part of it, but I also kind of played through some really annoying days before the circuit started, and I wasn't really willing to put in like 12-hour days in those conditions during the circuit stop, but still could have played more hours. That's on me. Could have adjusted to Council Bluffs games instantly, should be adjusting instantly. I've played, this is the second most hours I've ever played in one city in Council Bluffs, so I know how it plays out here. I shouldn't still be in Vegas mode when I get here for a few days, and a few specific hands, a few unique hands I wish I had back. So all that affected, all that went into why my hours were down and why my money was down. But this video is getting long. Next video, the video that goes up tomorrow, even though I'll film it in like 2 hours, is gonna be everything that happened in the hands. Not a hand history, but the ridiculous amount of coolers and beats. Because to say that running bad wasn't at all the reason for my low hours and my low money isn't true. It's not the only reason. Of course, there are things I should have done differently to have a better experience out here, a better 39 days, but a lot of it was outside my control. Some really hilarious and entertaining beats in tomorrow's video. And remember, rice is a spoon food.